Hi there, and welcome back to another typical T relaxing long play. Last time we saw just how aggressive the AI can be. More than once we fought for our lives and our land, but we also pressed forward with new building projects, including setting work on our new castle. Today we assess our priorities, continue to fight in defense of our land, devise a new fortress and assemble our first garrison force. Without further ado, grab a drink, make yourself comfortable and relax alongside me in Manor Lords. So, initial goals today, really increase the population of Deepheart. Over here we've got the manor starting construction. That's just only really started at a few percent along the way. I want to massively increase our iron production so that we can up the number of people we have at the smithies, start producing more weapons and crucially start producing armour that we can send via pack station over to the capital to help equip our soldiers. Helmets first, and then hopefully some plate armor later. We need to get going. We've got lots and lots of opportunity here to create lots and lots of dress stone. So that's definitely going to be one of our priorities, but at the moment we really lack the workforce. We've just got 4 people in a quarry and 2 people in the stonemason station, which is a pale shadow compared to the capacity we're going to have here once we've got a larger population in Deepheart. We've then also got the new forestry area over here, and we are lacking trees. We're starting to run out, so quite keen as well to perhaps look at getting some accommodation possibly over here, spreading towards this new woodcutter industrial area so that we can get more families settling and get families working at these forestries as soon as possible. Let's whip on over to New Boatlandia within Deepheart. 30% on the manor, and we do have 8 available living spaces here, so we're going to speed the game along a little bit and hopefully we can start to see some of that migration coming in. While we don't have many unassigned families, I'm not too keen to go starting too many new construction projects over here, because especially with the manor under construction we're really quite busy. And we can see we've got a new family settling in at the capital. Now up here as well we've got only 4 available living spaces. We've been populating this new area along here. And in fact, let's upgrade that house while we're in the area. And this is where we've got some additional living space, I believe, at the moment. And this is really to service the new forestry area we have going on here. So we've already got 1 logging camp active. We've got plenty of timber and a reasonable number of planks, so I'm fairly happy to leave that at the level we have it at currently. As for up here, I think it's probably time we demolished the original logging camp, because that's now quite far from the forestries down here. And that might open up a little bit of space to have an additional burgish plot up here. In terms of saw pit as well, we currently have it up there, but we probably want to move that down to this area here as well, where we now have all of the industrial goings-ons. So we're going to relocate the saw pit, and we're going to pop that just there, and we'll also relocate a second saw pit, and we'll put that right next to it. And with that moving on down there, and that frees up a little bit more space up here again. And we're also going to get rid of this logging camp, and we'll replace that family by opening up one of the additional logging camps down here. We may need additional log storage after doing that, so let's go ahead and grab one of those. And we'll see if we can't put a few more down. The hill is probably going to be the issue here, as we've seen in the past. So we may actually have saturated where we can build things without too much encroaching on our forested areas. We can get some along there. That's just taking things further away though from, as the raw tax goes up again, from the rest of our village. So what I might actually do is look to get a couple of logging camps set up over here so we can have the overflow of logs stored closer to where other construction projects might take place. So we're going to put 2 there and then surround those with their own road, like so. More people moving into Depart, which is always a good sign. And we're not too far away from harvesting. We've got plenty of unassigned families at the moment. In fact, we are harvesting over here. So let's make sure that we've got a full farmhouse so we can be working on those fields. And this might also be a good time to think about opening some additional fields up here. For the most part up here it's just rye and wheat. Down at the new farms we've got barley. Let's get some families working there. And we've also got rye. So we'll fill that farmhouse up as well. So we've got full contingent of workers there. And that flax is going a long way to producing us the linen we need to produce gambesons. And at the moment, we've still only got a handful of men equipped with them, but we are getting there to a degree. Let's pop on down to Depart. Got property ready for upgrading, so we'll do that. Already down to 7 available living space, so we have had a spree of people moving in. For the moment though, I'm content just to let the number of unassigned families we have creep up in Depart so that we have a larger workforce available for construction and other needs. We do though need to make sure we've got people working at the farmhouse, so we'll have to see where we can strip workers from. Got a couple working at the trading post, got a decent income coming in. Right, let's get 3 in there straight away, just so we've got someone to start with the harvesting. It might be we're just a little short on families having assigned some specialist buildings and opening up Depart with its jobs. We'll have to go down to 1 working in the mining pit for the moment. Food's plentiful, so I think we're going to have to steal someone from the fishermen's huts and get a couple of extra workers into the fields. Fuel is up to 23 months. Reluctant to take anyone else from the production chain there though, because if I forget to put them back, we're going to be in a spot of bother for sure. Let's take that chap out of the windmill. He can go and help on the farm for the moment. Splendid. Okay, we are well into September. Looks like we're getting on pretty well with the harvesting up here, so hopefully we got people into the farms just at the right time. I'm interested to see how we're doing for clothing. We've got 29 clothes, and as he says, as the stocks are damaged in the fields, it's not so good, is it? We have got clothing. And how are we doing in terms of our wool production versus the number of clothes we're making? So we've got 119 wool, turn that into 14 yarn, so the bottleneck is definitely not sheep. So what I'm thinking then is that we probably ought to assign one of our houses to be a butcher's so we can keep our sheep population under control. We're already up to 54 sheep with 48 lambs. I don't really want it to be much higher than that, so what we'll do is we'll take a view of one of these properties here that only has 1 family, like this one here, and we can't actually do that one, that hasn't got any workable space at the back, and already we're on to that next claiming. Right, and this time It's Peter. Peter, what are you doing? Peter, I thought we were friends. Peter. How strong do we think Peter is? That's the real question, isn't it? Has he got a manor? Not one that I have seen. But as we've seen before, when up here, Herman deployed a full 36 spearmen, and we also have the issue of hired in mercenaries, so we're definitely going to want to hire in anyone before Peter can go ahead and do that behind our backs. But what we need to start with, I don't want to forget about putting in this butchers, so let's find a property that's in an appropriate location, one family, workable garden, that would be you here, and let's turn you into a butcher's workshop. So that's under construction. And let's look what's available on the old military market. So we've got the ravenous vultures and the huntsman. Those are two very expensive but very damaging units. I don't want to be fighting them. And that means we need to hire them. We're going to fight that. And enemy unit spotted. I'm guessing, yep, it's a couple of units of brigands that we didn't hire. Now, where is the battle to be fought? Once again, the centre of Depart, which seems to be where all of the conflicts go down. So, let's rally our forces. We'll start moving in our crossbowmen from here. And we'll start moving in our light mercenary infantry. We're going to run them. And we're also going to rally a number of our own troops. I don't think more than 3 units of spear will be necessary. So we'll rally them. I am tempted to, once we have taken care of Peter's force, to actually invade and fight back and claim his region. The downside to that, well, for one, we don't need additional space for settling at the moment. We've got regions over there we've not yet managed to settle. But apart from that, we don't really want to be in a protracted battle, a protracted war, and we don't have the finances in our treasury to keep these bands hired for a long period of time. So we need to take that into consideration as well. Okay, I'm going to run these mercenary archers, and I'm going to form up our infantry in a shield wall configuration here, ready to protect the capital. And we should make swift work of those brigands when they eventually get over to us. How do we get on with construction here? Still at 62% on the butcher's workshop, so as soon as that has been completed, we can go ahead and set the limits for how much we want produced there. We probably want to have maybe 80 fully grown sheep at any one time. We probably won't bother putting a limit on lambs, but we'll keep population under control by controlling the number of sheep that we can have. We need to think about available living space here as well. Have we got any more space at these properties to expand them? Doesn't look like it. We may already have done that. There's one there, so we'll extend these. And we'll do the same on this side. Looks like we left space to expand a couple of these. And we'll upgrade that while we're here. That's going to give us some additional living spaces. It would also be nice though to start expanding maybe further down here This gives us a reasonable working population for these properties here. I don't think there's loads more space, although we could start filling up some of this space here actually. And that's around this tavern as well, so that might make sense. So maybe let's look at getting some properties in here. And let's have them facing this way. And let's make these, yeah, 2 families in each. I like the look of that, we'll build those. Let's move up our mercenaries. We definitely don't want to have them for 2 months. And we'll just keep our spearmen here on the off chance that some brigands break through. And we're going to set these units to fire at will. We'll send 1 unit in this direction and the others in those directions. And we'll set to engage. Be interesting to see how powerful these crossbowmen are. We've certainly seen that they can be very effective previously. First couple of bolts are flying in. Down to 17 already. And we're going to set our troops here to be aggressive and push in. And we're going to do the same with these men here. They were down to 12 before they even hit our sword. So that definitely makes me think maybe it's worth replacing our bows as we break those units. Replacing our bow units with crossbowmen when it comes time that we can produce something that advanced. I'm going to disband our military for the time being. They can go back to their jobs. There's construction to be done after all. And we also have the farms. We've got ploughing going on. So we need people at their jobs. Hopefully we had a reasonable harvest. Looks like it's still coming in, probably mostly in, yeah, the farmhouses still at the moment. And there we have the butchers, so we want them focusing on mutton. And let's have a surplus of 30 lambs and 80 sheep. And we are certainly winning the fight for Depart. We've got an additional family, so let's assign them to the farmhouse so they too can help with working on the land, working on what needs to be done. Still quite keen to get the foresters up and running, but it's going to be a moment before we do that. Still got 11 days on the huntsman, and we've 6 available living spaces. Let's check. Yep. So we've got additional space over here. So at the ones that we do, we're going to upgrade those so that they can accommodate additional families. And that should give us 8 additional plots for people to move into. And where we haven't assigned an animal yet, let's get some assigned. That looks good. And I'd very much like to upgrade some of these hitching posts. But for the moment, it's really about making sure we've got enough people around. And actually, it occurs to me, we've got lots of people working at the quarry during harvest, which is why we've got so few people available to us. So we're going to free them up. If you're enjoying the video and have the time, it would warm my tea if you could pop me a like, drop a comment with feedback, or subscribe. But regardless, thank you for joining me, and know you're appreciated. Thing is, when this ticks over for payment, we may tick over into another month, and it may be that Peter hires more brigands. We can't afford to keep all these men though, so I'm going to disband the sword, and I'm actually going to keep the crossbowmen for another rotation. just to see if Peter does in fact hire in additional mercenaries. With that in mind, I think we probably ought to think about increasing taxation. We're making a decent amount of money now here in the capital. And what's that coming from? So if we look at our records, so we're exporting pelts, exporting warbows, shields, salt, bit of flour, and wooden gears. So if we come down, how efficient are the salt mines these days? Modest 18 in the last few many days. 18, so we can definitely be extracting more. It looks like the mines are up and working again. Previously we had a problem with them, so we might even reconfigure this so we have more mines. We know we can fit more in the land than this, but for the moment we're still only at half capacity with the number we have here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the number of workers at each of these deep mines by 2. So that we can start producing more salt for sale. And what we're going to do is we are going to increase taxation. And we're going to increase that to 6%. And that's going to have the effect it's going to have on our approval, but there's not much we can do about that, to be honest. At the end of the day, we need to be extracting some of the wealth out of our regions now, so we can start to finance the military. But at the end of the day, it's going to be what keeps them all safe. We'll speed time along a little bit. It is tempting, but I'm going to leave. And I'll keep hold of these archers for the time being. There we are, we've paid them. And I'm glad we kept them, because some enemy units have been spotted. Actually, yeah, bring them to higher. And they're at the back of Hochweg. What I'm going to do is, similar to last time, I'm going to march up our crossbowmen, and I am going to deploy our retinue from the capital. And this time I am going to deploy both units of archers as well. And hopefully we'll be able to make swift work of those brigands with no losses. The cost to settle has gone up considerably. Fortunately, we are not considering settling, so we needn't worry about that. People continuing to move into the capital. How are we doing over at the farm? We're still only ploughing, so we'll get an additional family working there, and we'll assign one more to work at the fishery as well, so we can bring as much food as possible. And ooh. Oh dear. Okay. That's not good. So we have rather been pounced upon here. We've got 2 units of sword and spear moving in from the very top of Deep Heart that we didn't see get hired. And our troops are all down the hill, far away from the manor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mobilise our militia in Deep Heart. And I'm going to keep marching our crossbows towards these brigands here. And they'll be supported by that unit of infantry. And I'm going to take all of our men here. And we're going to turn around and face the threat from these units. They're not currently pillaging, so what I'm tempted to do is pick our ground a little bit, and this might be a good place. So we're going to shield wall up, and we're going to have our backs to this hill, protecting our archers. And that'll be our chosen ground to fight the incoming infantry. And we're definitely going to need to be employing a few people at the local corpse pit. So we might as well get them employed now. And hopefully we haven't missed any more units. Does look like this. Those two up here for the moment. They were hidden by this forest initially, which is perhaps why we didn't see them straight away. That's something to be aware of. It might be worth clearing this forest so that we see enemies as soon as they are brought in. Yeah, it looks like they're pretty well equipped in terms of armour. Okay, how are we doing with rallying our defence? Looks like we're taking our time. I think I'm gonna... we're all set to run to position. Let's set these to shoot at will. We have got one of our units of spear moving into position here. And the others are just a little bit bunched up. Let's take them off shield wall for a moment. Hopefully that makes them a little bit faster. Looks to have done the trick. And the enemy are spread out a little bit here. We have our sword running into position here. It looks like the brigands may be moving in on our flank, so actually I'm going to bring up our troops here to assist on the flank. This unit is certainly taking their time getting to position. Hopefully they get here before they are starting to be stabbed in the back. Okay. Let's reposition these men here. Form a shield wall. These men here. Shield wall just here. And we'll keep our archers where they are for the moment. And looks like they've opened fire already. I'm going to stop running these guys. I don't want them to become exhausted. I'm actually going to hold station here. We don't want to get caught out too far. And we're going to hold position with these as well. I don't want to march all the way up to these swords just to have them bear down on us. In fact, we're going to stop right here. I'm going to move our men into the forest here in case we need to assist. I'm going to take one of our units of spear and one of our archers. And I'm also going to bring our additional unit of spear. With these men in a shield wall, we've got archers assisting, and we'll bring in these men onto the flank. Hopefully to charge in. And we're going to continue to whittle down these guys. We'll set them to attack there. And we're going to attack into the rear of them. We're going to attack through the flank with those lads. And we're going to come out of a shield wall here, and we're going to charge down the hill with these spears. We're going to set these units to an aggressive stance as well. We'll push forward and take care of them. Hopefully these archers can keep them back. Yep, perfect. We've broken that unit, and now they are rather sandwiched between us. And we'll clear up the remainder of the enemy. Right, let's check for any additional enemy forces. Looks like we're okay. As we just take care of the remainder of the enemy force. Is that unit broken? We get to lose anyone from these units, which is good, apart from the one unit of archers who are mercenaries, and there we are. Victory is ours. So let's assemble the forces along the road here. let's get... You should be maintaining yourselves, boys. Let's get... Yeah, we've got someone working actually at the church, so that's fine. And we've got a couple of people working at the corpse pit, so that should be taking care of things from that perspective. And we'll just tick out the timer and wait to see if the battle for the capital is over, or whether we're going to see any more troops coming in. Getting that retinue up and running is going to be a big help, especially once we have the Deep Heart retinue as well from constructing the manor down here. Still only at 42% on that one though. And during all that fighting, how have we been getting on with the fields? So we're still working in them. Looks like we're moving on to planting at least down here. Deep Heart, I'd imagine we're doing a little bit better in terms of the farms. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people here are done. Although we are only just starting on this field down here. I suppose they've been hampered by the fact a lot of the working men have been out at war. That shouting was making me nervous then. I think it is our own troops. These archers are stuck off the map, so I'm going to disband them in the hopes they can find their way home from there. And I'm actually going to disband all of our own men. I've definitely just deleted a unit there. Right, we'll send this unit home. And let's hire in our own units again. I do like 3 units of spears, the mainstay of our army. Typically we're going to be fighting defensively if we're using our own retinue. If we're going on the attack, we're going to be able to hire in lots of mercenaries, so we can get a slightly higher attack from the people we hire in, and we'll focus our own forces on defense for the most part, holding shield walls that we can use to defend our land. Good, good. With that war successfully prosecuted, we'll just wait to see if they come at us again and if we need to reform all of our units. These men marching home, as I said, we'll send them on down. And we'll just wait for our workers to be done on the farms. We've got 9 available living spaces at the capital since expanding down here. And we've also got these properties, and we're going to add additional living space to those as well. And down in Deep Heart, we've plenty of available living space. And hopefully we're working a little bit on the population here as well. No need to have you working there for the time being then, is there? We'll send these men back to their labours. Let's get an additional worker at the mining pit. And how are we doing down here for catering for people's needs? Let's have a look at the market. Pretty good. We've got a clothing supply issue, obviously. So let's get this family set up as a tailor's workshop. We've got the weaver's workshop there, and we'll have the tailor's shop just next door. And hopefully with that we'll be able to produce a few more garments. And we are starting to get a couple of sheep together here as well, which is going to go a long way to getting the wool we need for clothing. Still a lot of bodies that need burying in the capital, and we've got a raft of properties ready to upgrade to level 3. Obviously a bit of ale has come in. We've had malt produced from the barley coming out of the fields. So let's upgrade all these. And requirements ran out just at the last second there, but one of those is ready for upgrading. And aha! We've completed construction of the manor down at Depart, so we have a retinue here now. Just double check the military situation. And we're going to disband the crossbowmen so we don't have to pay them again. We're struggling for cash enough as it is. And as I say that, the roll tax goes up once again. Ah. Bother. Flock of crazy geese. 1, 2, 3 units. 2 infantry, 1 of archer. Now, if people keep entering from here, the capital is going to become quite hard to defend. Because we can't rally people into the manor where we have it before the enemy get to it. Of course, we do have the retinue, and perhaps if we were to actually hire the retinue back and deploy them here to defend the gate, it might be that we can get our other troops up here while they're distracted, but we'd still be on the wrong side of the walls. Nevertheless, once more, we need to rally our forces, and I think a good place to do that is perhaps this bit of open flatland here. Get all of those men there. And what do we have on the mercenary front? Green Caps and Wayward Sons. But so long as it is just this unit here, we're not going to need them, and we can't really afford them, so I'm not going to hire them in immediately. Once again, this is really showing how much war goes on with this many AI on the map. That's 3 sets of conflicts just over one of our regions being claimed, which is quite significant, and it's really starting to hamper our progress. So I'm really keen that we get our economy up and running in Depart so that we can start to finance larger, more permanent mercenary armies that we can keep positioned around the map. We can build stronger manors and perhaps take on a few of these AI to reduce the number of people we've got who are openly and actively attacking us. But for the time being, we've got to make do with what we have. So I think what we'll do is we'll array our spears in one long line of shield wall. And we will position our archers behind them. We'll space them out and we'll set them to fire at will. And then we'll rest up where we are and let them exhaust themselves running to us rather than us running to them. Already we're opening up on the spears moving in. Break formation. And the others are making their way down a little bit slower. I don't know why the spears have arrived so much sooner. Hopefully we can take care of these spears before their archers come into range. Okay. We can bring these spears around. And I might commit one unit to a frontal attack. I'm going to set our archers to attack over there. And I'm going to bring a unit of spear behind. We'll hold these men in reserve. We'll wait and see what the enemy sword does. We'll push these men in. Bring these men out of their shield wall. Let's push these men into battle. And we're going to do the same from this side. I'm going to set both to be aggressive. Continue to use our archers to harry the enemy force. And move our spare unit of spear into position where we're able to support our archers from these swords. We have lost a couple of men from here. I'm going to set to a stand their ground here. Looks like we have taken a couple of arrows over here. I'm going to keep pushing these men in from behind. Make sure we are continuing to sandwich them. And I'm going to array these units here, lest we need to take on that sword. Let's just zoom out, make sure there's no more mercenaries we haven't seen. Looks okay for the moment. Well, our units are certainly going to be experienced. We've broken that unit, so let's reform our units here. And we may have broken the archers. So let's get ready to move on the enemy infantry. Let's come out of shield wall and deploy our spear units over here. They still have a few archers, and by a few I mean they've got one archer, but let's take them out. Let's at least into missile alert. Is it just the one lad with a bow? That's just the banner guy. The banner bearer. The infantry are moving down towards the scene of the battle. I'm going to move our men down here, and I am going to rally the local defense force just in case they're required. I'm going to start pushing these shields down, and I'm going to start moving our archers down as well. It looks like the sword has turned round. Let's array our troops here. Need to make sure they don't get through to our archers. So we are going to have to move our spears across here. Set both to be aggressive. Hopefully sandwiching and charging in like that should mean we can make swift work of them. I'm going to send in our other unit here as well. And broken them. Not a moment too soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemy units have been spotted. So we've got the green caps over here. And possibly someone up here, I'm going to guess. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. Let's assemble our forces down in the contested area itself, where they've got the support of our additional unit here. And let's wait and see where all these enemies come in from. Okay, so we've got Wayward Sons from down here. And green caps there, as we know. It's certainly relentless. Starting to wish we'd held on to some more of those hired hands. Okay, let's keep an eye on these units as they move in, as we assemble our forces. Looks like we're going to be taking on these guys first. So let's make sure we've got all of our troops set to balanced. Missile alert. And set them up here. And we'll get our spears and shield walls. We'll get our swords here. And our archers are ready to engage as well. We'll set them up on the flank. And we need to take care of them before these units come into range. And let's just see if... I think we splash our cash. And we assemble as much of a retinue as we can. And let's get that retinue over here. We're going to have to run to get here in time. Okay. Let's push in on these archers. Okay. Perfect. Broke them instantly. Hopefully we can take care of these ones as well. With little to no losses. The retinue has arrived. And we have dealt with the Wayward Sons and peace declared. They've given up. Have they hired anyone else? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Let's disband the locals and send our fighting men back to the capital where they too can be disbanded. There are plenty of people that need burying. Let's get some additional workers at the corpse pit. And let's also then reduce the number of workers we have in the farmhouses because the growing season is well and truly gone. And let's get a few workers up at the windmill. Two there actually, so probably okay. And that frees people back up for construction. Put a few small vegetable plotches. What's a plotch? A few small vegetable plots in here. As our troops come home, we'll disband them. Still just got garrisons. Experience is up to 25 for all of our men now. By the looks of things. 70 that need burying. It's really been quite significant, isn't it? These fights. Quite a lot of fighting men working their way home on these paths. Probably need broader walks for that number of men. And we start to equip down here as well with helmets, if not for with gambesons and deep art. And once we start having a surplus of helmets, we'll start bartering those up to the capital so that our main fighting force is as well equipped as we can manage. Let's also free up farm workers down here. It's winter, so we don't need anyone at the fishermen's huts either. And that means we can pour some people into the quarry and also into the stonemasons' stations. And how are we doing for us is 107 dressed stone. And what do we have in the way of rough stone? None. So actually we don't need additional workers at the stonemason station for the moment. They would be better spent working at the quarry by the looks of things. And how are we doing for clothing? So we've got yarn. We just need to be turning that into woolen clothes. So we'll set our tailor shop here to do so. We don't have any linen production down here for the moment. I'm not going to worry about that too much either because realistically, we've only got the one unit here we need to equip with gambesons. We might end up just buying them in. Let's get an additional family working at the mining pit. do with a few more logs really if we're going to be upgrading the manor before too long. So let's take a look at our plank production and see what the limits are set up to. So we probably don't need more than 500 planks. We probably want a reserve of 100 timber. To achieve that, we're definitely going to need to get some additional loggers. So let's set up a road here. And we'll build those logging camps to store logs. And it looks like we've got a problem with cold. Okay, let's get 2 down there, and we'll put 3 opposite. And what's the problem with cold over in the capital? We've got plenty of fuel. It's one of the houses under construction, so that probably explains it. Where is their local storehouse? It's here. How are we doing with supply from this market? Yeah, everyone's got fuel. I don't think that's actually a problem. We've plenty of space for people to be moving into. We're lacking any particular vegetable. A few more carrots couldn't hurt. So that's what we'll set up. Maybe a couple of cabbage as well. That's the tailor shop upgraded, that's fine. And we're doing okay in terms of shield and spears. We've got a bit of a surplus of clothes actually, so that's good. Finance wise, we're still good. And we can get attacks going on down in Depart now, and actually we need to get the corpse bit here as well operational. Which is over here. Got a couple of families working at that so we don't make people too unhappy from the number of deaders sitting around. And let's go over to the manor and let's set taxation to 6%, same as we have up in the capital. And that should significantly increase our profit from this region. How are we doing in terms of our export from Depart? So we're selling stone, and we are selling dress stone, so most of our money is coming from. Okay, so we can probably afford to sell a bit more dress stone. 111. I would like to actually increase the amount we keep in stock, because we are going to be using it to create a castle before too long. So let's go over to the trading post and let's set to not trade. Well, a surplus of 300. 500. And we're going to order a horse to help with trading. And we're going to get an additional family to work there as well. And we're going to focus most of our additional resources on extracting more stone from the ground so we can dress it and sell it. We have got a few rough stones sat around now, so I'm going to get an additional stonemason and 2 more families working in the quarries, and we'll leave the rest available for construction for the moment. As we've got a capital increasing in settlement level, which is great. I'd also like to be selling weapons here as well. So how are we doing? We've got 32 sidearms, 20 spear. What do we have? 168 iron slabs. So let's go to our blacksmith. So he's producing sidearms. We want 64 surplus. So let's set you to continue working. You may want to get an additional one of you in the future. let's use some of the money we have here at the moment to open up a trade on sidearms. And we're going to export everything we have over 64. And we're not going to set a production limit, but we do want 100 iron slabs in reserve at any one time. And hopefully that'll open up a nice channel for exporting and creating some additional finances. Not much point in doing much with that tavern at the moment because we're not producing any barley locally, which we can use to make malt, and I don't know that we will be here. Possibly we could get some there on the edge. Not over there because that's where we're planning on having that. I mean, given the rich resources we have here in terms of stone and iron and all the sales we'll eventually get from weapons once we've got a few more weapons being produced, I don't think we need to worry about too much buying in barley to make malt. So that's going to be our goal for the time being. We'll continue waiting for people to move in. Once they have, we'll probably look to do a housing project over here so we can better supply some of the industrial land over here in terms of, well, agricultural land, with the farms and also with a reforestation project. Things are looking pretty good in the capital. Seems to be a little bit of a supply problem down here in terms of got clothes, got charcoal. I think it's the level 3, yeah, the level 3 burgage plots obviously want additional garments. They want to have some nicer things to wear, but we are pouring all of our linen into garrison production. And how are we doing garrison production? We do have a few linen left over. But I would imagine we are turning pretty much everything we have into garrison, so it's not like we've got loads of linen left over. So we might need to increase maintenance down here. We have plenty of tools, so that shouldn't be a problem. We've got loads of small shields, so it might be worth opening up a trade on small shields. We want export, and we don't need any more than 64. So we'll set those exporting, which is yet another source of income for Depart. And we're just going to push through this winter, really. We're waiting for people to move in. We're not starting any new construction projects for the moment. Everything's been botched at the moment, isn't it? The next real big thing down here in Depart is construction of the manor. So why don't we go ahead, open the castle planner, and we'll just pop a quick save. And with that, let's get to setting out our very own castle down here. So in terms of how we want this to look, this is really going to be the linchpin of our defense. It's right in the center of the valley. So let's start with a gate. We're going to put that over the road here. Well, this will be reasonably large because I'm potentially going to be holding a lot of people here, a lot of forces in the battles to come. So let's put this here, and really I want to have a little bit of... We can move this. Okay. It's a good start, isn't it? Alright, let's get rid of that. Walls and gates. And build that here. Maybe even a little bit wider. Like so. And then we're going to have two steep sides coming out here. And that's going to funnel our enemies in and hopefully give us positions on the inside where we can have our archers. Running into the map border there, which is a little bit frustrating. Okay. Can we redo this road? That was a pretty key road. Let's link that back in down here. I don't think there's anything else that we've too badly severed. Everything down here still appears to have a road. That's a good sign. But let's then take this road, slightly different angle down here, to give us a bit more space. Open up the castle planner again, and start this over. So walls and gates, our initial section of wall there. Got our gully here. And how far can we take that out? To there. And similar here. To the water's edge. If we can. It's going to be significantly shorter there, look. Okay, but we can then bring it back along the river. And we're going to do the same with the wall on this side. We're going to curve this wall. Are we going to curve it? I'm not sure if you can have curves in the stone walls. Probably can. It'll be something interesting to see. So let's follow a nice curve in that case. Click fairly often. Make it fairly seamless. And this might be a good position then for another gate. We'll keep coming on like that. And then we'll sharply return this in. And maybe we'll go flat. And then return it. And we'll close that for a second and we'll build a road coming out like this. Get back into the castle planner. And come across. Let's delete this road. This wall, rather. I want it to look fairly similar to the one over here, so we'll just come across with a small entrance there. Connect that out on both sides. Now, this is all going to be a terrible waste of time if it turns out that the enemy never attack it, but this is really being built with the assumption this is going to be where we can do most of our defense. At the moment, we've not used any fortifications to any success at all. Most of the battles seem to be down here, regardless of whether they're claiming the capital or claiming Deep Heart. So if we can defend from a fortification, that's going to make life much easier. It might be in the future we do need to move more of our military down here, because although we do seem to have time to run our troops down from the capital to here. Okay, and then we'll just come across. This might impinge on our iron mine a little bit, but there's not much we can do about that. And then we'll come back across here for our third gate. And we'll do something very similar to what we've done previously. Could take a straight line there. I think I'd rather curve it a bit again. So we'll just bring this across here. In fact, why don't we curve this entire section, make it look a little bit more interesting as we come out from here. Instead of a straight bluff, we'll curve this around. Back towards the river. And then eventually back down along to the wall here. Make sure we connect that. That'd be a rather embarrassing gap in our defences, wouldn't it? Okay, so that's quite an interesting shape. I like this rounded section here. It's something a little bit different. And then as for outer towers, we're going to want a couple of these looking in on these kill zones. This is on the wrong side. Okay, guess we're going to have it on here. Put the second one there. We're just going to dot these along where we can. Can we turn off snapping for these? I don't think we can. No. Being a little bit awkward. We might be able to add more at a later date. Right, so let's just have one here. Then we'll put a couple along here as well. 2 there. And we're definitely lacking on this side, but this seems... the wall seems to be on the wrong way around, so I wonder if we rebuild it. Is that going to fix the problem? Doesn't look like it. What if we build this first? Let's put one here. In fact, let's make this the edge of this defense. And then connect a wall back to there. And we'll do the same along here. Right, we'll delete that. Put a tower down here. And then we'll connect the walls up to that. Looks pretty good. Right. This is going to cost a lot to construct, rather unsurprisingly. Oh, we've got a bit of wall missing there. It's no good. So, we're going to need 126 of those. We're going to need 215 planks. Otherwise it's okay, actually. Can we go straight to stone? I think that's probably wise. And we can catch any problems we have with gaps now as well. Like we have here. And let's also put on some ramparts. I have a bit of a problem with how things meet here, but I'm sure they'll address that in the future. Okay. So that one was having some problem. Can we place that back in? No, it doesn't like to be on a curve, I don't think. So we might have to do without that. Otherwise, that looks to have formed really nicely. Let's upgrade this one. The wall here. And I think we've got a bit of wall we need to connect in there. Make sure that's upgraded on the right side. Yep, that's good. Again, we've got a bit of wall that's disconnected here. Make sure that's connected on the right side. Get these upgraded. Now this is going to be quite the construction project. Just this side to go now. It's a really nice curved stone wall actually. And hopefully this is going to be the fort that defines our rule here and provides us with the defensive capabilities we need to outlast and survive our enemies, who are constantly attacking us. It's a shame you can't build at level 2 straight away. It does expect you to go through the upgrade process. Okay. I think that's everything. And that's going to be quite an impressive structure when it's completed. Of course we want to upgrade these at the same time. Right. 130 mortar, 697 dressed stone, so we need to get on with production of that. We need 500 planks as well. Okay. Let's close that. That looks really, really good. And with that, let's go and readdress the production limits and the sale limits that we have. So at the trading post, we don't want to be selling dressed stone until we have a surplus of 900, I'm going to say. Which is drastic, but it's what we need. And then let's also make sure we're going to have enough planks. So over at our saw pit, we want to have 600 planks. Ew, not 9,600. It's a few too many. Go 600. And let's start making our way towards those goals. We're going to need some additional loggers, I think, as well. So let's get a full logging camp operational down here. And we're going to retire this one that's a little closer to home. And we may even get another one operational here, but I think for the moment, have we set up a limited work area? I don't think. Maybe we have. Let's get someone working here, so they can start with planting, to make sure we've got the timber we need to meet the needs of the manor we're going to be constructing. We want a forager there, and we've fallen short on our royal tax. I'm not sure what impact that's going to have. We'll have to wait and see. So we've got one armourer working away. Let's get... How are we doing in terms of other food groups?
Look here.
We've got pork, got a chevron. Let's get some chickens at these properties here. They may eventually become more specialised, but for the time being, chickens will do. And New Boatlandia is coming along nicely as well. We're going to need quite the population before we attempt constructing Deep Hearts fortification, centre of the map, a castle, hopefully, to end all castles. Looks like we run out of space here. Might be worth getting some more workers at the storehouse to store some of this dressed stone we're producing. Is there anything that needs doing in the fields? No, it looks like we did get everywhere at the end after all. And let's take a couple of workers from the quarry. Get an additional worker at the storehouse and at the granary. I think we probably want to take another from here. Send him to the storehouse. And we are going to need to start producing mortar. We need 200 for that project to safely make sure we can complete it. And in the capital, all seems to be well. We're waiting for this year's harvest. And we have plenty of trees being planted to support our forestry ministry here. A rather useless manor up here on the hill, which is going to look lovely when it's completed, but in terms of tactical significance, so far it has proved to be pretty lackluster. Unless we were to keep forces garrisoned in there, when they spawn in above the town, it's just too close for our troops to get there in time, especially being at the top of the hill. Looks like we did get taxed in the end after all. We've got loads of available living space here, and we've got plenty of people who aren't currently in jobs. So let's get a few extra people working down at the logging camp. We're looking pretty good for fuel. It's pretty much all charcoal as well, which is good. Let's get an additional worker there. And we've filled up the salt mines here. And we're producing quite a lot of salt from them. Are we getting all of that out to market? We've got nearly 700 salt sat around, so I'm going to say no. It might be we need to get an additional trading post set up. So let's go ahead and do that. Although, having said that, maybe what we should be doing is getting down a bartering station so that we can do some trading with our neighbours. Pack station. And we'll put it down here. We've already got one here. So we are doing charcoal for dressed stone at the moment. How much dressed stone have we got? We've got 149 so far. I'm going to change that. I'm going to go charcoal, maybe even salt. If we can find salt in the list. Siege ladders. Something to come there, I think. Salt, 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 salt. And we're going to barter that in exchange for helmets. Salt for helmets. And do we have a pack station down here? We do. Let's get an additional one of those, and once again we're going to be sending helmets and receiving salt. How are we doing with helmet production? Looks like we still haven't quite equipped everyone here. We are up to 20 though. We do have plenty of iron, I believe. Yeah. 195 iron slabs. So, although we are stretched on workforce already, very tempted to change one of these freshly minted chicken nuts for an armourer's workshop so that we can have twice the number of helmets produced. That's an essential component that we're going to need for the protection of the capital's fighting men. And where are we at on the linen front? Just the one linen. I think it might be worth us buying in some flax. So let's get over to the trading station, trading post even. And oil tax going up again. Trade. And let's import. I'm guessing flax is going to be cheaper than linen. Not by much. In fact, by so little that it's probably not worth doing. Let's import some linen. Import. Establish trade route. And it'd be nice to have a surplus of, say, 15. So we're going to start buying that in. And we're a long way off harvest. How are we getting on with milling everything? Looks to be basically done. We've got a fair bit of red baked up as well. Red? Red even. Maybe it is red, but who knows. And hopefully at some point soon we start to get on top of our financial situation. It may be worth considering as well at some point soon settling another region, but it's hard enough to defend these two and they're right next to each other. If we expand over to here, it's just another area that we need to be protecting. One of the other things I'm quite keen to get going as well is really what we need is at this point people. We've got a reasonable number of people in the capital and that's helping push progress, but again really we need more migration in. Really the primary goal is depart, because down here we've got lots to expand, we've got lots of resources we want to gather, we want to increase the amount of iron we're gathering, sell more tools, we want to get on with the foresting district down here and get on and export more stone etc as well. So to be able to do that we need more people, and to get more people we need a better approval rating. Now we have just increased taxation, that's also necessary because if we don't have the money to protect our two realms then it's not much use having the realms. So there are lots of trees planted up here and I'm a bit loath to build over them, but we do need to get I think some additional orchards set up down here in Depart, because one of the things we're perhaps lacking a little bit down here in terms of the food variety. If we look at the food variety here, you can see these houses up here have fruit as well, and they're a deeper shade of green. They're going to be contributing more towards the overall positive approval, which is going to get us closer to a monthly migration of 2. That's going to double the number of families we have coming in and settling, which is going to make a significant difference in the number of people we have available to fight for us and do jobs for us. We only have the 3 orchards down here at the moment, which are still relatively freshly planted. And I was thinking, where can we put more? Well, let's take a look at barley fertility, because we don't want to be building over anywhere we can potentially put down barley. And really the only place we can be doing that is here above the clay mine, which is nearly empty actually. So in terms of forestation, that's going to be too steep there. But this looks like a good spot, and that's also going to provide us with a workforce closer to this area we've got here for forestation. So I think what we'll go ahead and do is we'll get a couple of properties set down. We'll just check where we are in terms of harvest. We've still got a little while left to harvest, so we don't need to worry about that for the moment. Let's plan out, we're probably going to want a marketplace over here. So what I'm going to start with is we'll get down a source of water. And then maybe we'll build a little road off here, like so. And in that, we're going to pop down a market area, just like so. And then we'll get down a storehouse and granary to service this area. And then let's get some properties and fill out the space here. That looks fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gives us 6 nice orchards, so I'm going to go ahead and build that there. And we might also see if we can squeeze one in down here using this space. That's not very efficient. Let's see if we can make that a little better. Maybe if we start at the thin end here, follow that round like so. Yep, that's going to be lovely. Probably worth splitting that into 2. So we'll do that there as well. So that's a fair bit of construction we've got going on here. So anything that we can free up for construction is going to be helpful. We don't want to impact our dress stone production too much, but it might be necessary to take a little bit of that away. And we're already up to 200 dress stone down here in D part, as we start to export less over to the capital and keep more back for our own manor and castle construction project over here. Do we have... yeah, we've got grains that need turning into flour, so we'll get a family working at the windmill. And we'll just check. It's odd. Showing up red there when you zoom down. And once we start to get a more solid economy here as well, then we will start to import some barley or some malt, and maybe even just straight up import ale if we're making enough money from our weapons exports, and that's going to enable us to get up to level 3 down here as well. And we're doing well for weapons. Over in the capital, I don't know if we're starting to see any of those helmets come in. Doesn't look like it. We're still equipping our D-part militia with those. We are getting there a little bit in terms of gambesons. And did we in the end? We just set up, didn't we? Trade to bring in linen. Yeah, we're importing linen, so hopefully that'll make an impact on the number of gambesons that we're making. And we've started slaughtering sheep that are over a certain limit. So that's going to give us another variety in terms of the food available. And we actually have slightly more malt sat around that hasn't been turned into ale. We've got quite a lot of ale as well. So it might be worth checking on our malt house. And maybe we need a second worker there to increase the productivity of that. And we'll get a second worker at the large tavern to make sure everyone stays well watered, as it were. Probably time we had workers at this storehouse and granary. Get 2 for each of those. And hopefully that'll help improve some of the low availability we've got there. Everyone else does seem pretty well equipped, other than up here. And they're just a little bit too far away. Tempted just to demolish that house, to be honest. And that looked like we've got more units. I'm going to demolish this house, because realistically they can go and live somewhere else that's in range. I don't want to be putting over a granary and a storehouse just for them. Okay. 4 units of raiders, and they've come up from the top here in Herman's land. So I think we'll wait to see how Herman reacts. They'll probably just burn down his region. I think we'll be left well alone. He's hired mercenaries to deal with the problem. Oh my goodness. Herman has, although they're not at full strength, 3 bands of his own spear militia. Again, it's constantly surprising me just how well equipped some of these AI are. Well, let's not get too distracted with the conflict up there. Looks like he's actually pulling away and forming up. They may be trying to convene with their heavy archers. There is some conflict ongoing. Okay, well, let's just be glad that this time it's not us that's being attacked. We've got a little while until harvest. I think we definitely need to make sure that we have got families working at the fisheries. We really do just have a chronic shortage of people down here in Deep Heart. We've got so much expansion opportunity here, but we're not really being able to take full advantage of it. Do we still have... Probably do, because we can have unassigned people. Don't need people working at the corpse bit anymore, so we can free those families up at the least. I don't think there's anyone we can free up here. We are nearly done with the clay, and we'll be able to free up that workman when that happens. We'll keep ordering ox as and when as well. Making good use of the iron. Oh, already. I'm sorry. Are you kidding me? Herman, you've just killed a bunch of mercenaries. And you've already claimed the capital. Negotiation coming soon. Have we lost that ability? Well, we've been here before. Let's hire in the Battle Brothers. And let's rally our forces. Oh, goodness sake. I would like to replace them with crossbow militia. What are the advantages of the crossbow militia? So... Archers, attack 0. Range attack 12. We can't see because we don't have any weapons. Okay, we'll leave it for the minute. Let's get those archers back. And we'll get them down there. And we'll also rally all of our spear. And we'll rally our infantry as well. So they've got a higher attack, they've got less armour, much less shield. It's really just the attack that gives them a bonus, more of a flanking unit, I guess. I'm not going to resolve on the battlefield straight away because actually we've got a little bit of time. So I'm going to rally our forces first. Okay, while our forces rally, let's take a look at what else we can do to increase our approval down here. So, garments is definitely one, fruits is one as we've said, and beverages is another one. To be honest, there's not much we can do about that. We've got wool starting to be produced because we've got a sheep population growing now, so we are starting to make clothes. We haven't really got anywhere we can grow barley yet, so we can't activate our drinks. And as far as the fruits go, we have just set up a new district where we're going to be planting lots and lots of trees. But until that's operational, it's going to be a few years until it is. We're just stuck at the level of immigration that we've got, so not much to be done. Units are still rallying. And let's not forget, we need to march our mercenaries over. So we'll get that going as well. Let's get an additional worker at the fisheries. At the moment, in terms of food variety, we've got berries, we've got some meats. We haven't got any fish, so that's going to add to our variety because we haven't been fishing properly in a while. And we'll get the fruit online. And we could do with a bit more wheat bread. Is that just because we didn't have someone working at the windmill? Do we have grain? We do, we've got 34 rye grain. So we're working on that as well. Okay. I think we're going to rally our troops down here. wait for our mercenaries to get in a bit closer before we declare anything. Move it in the capital. Got loads and loads of living space. Don't have people move into these just yet. Plenty of timber, plenty of planks. We've got loads of people working there. What else could we have people doing? How are we doing in terms of selling salt these days? We've got a fair amount there. We've got 950 salt, so that's telling me we definitely need to get a second trading post. So, trading post. Where are we going to put this? Our initial one is in here. That works. Put the trading post there, and we should probably also look at how we can redistribute our mines here to make better use of the space. So let's get rid of a couple of roads. Let's unassign these families. Get rid of that mine. I'll have to wait for those supplies to be moved. Because previously we did have more mines set up here. But since we were having problems with harvesting, we got rid of them. So we've got one there. One will go there, so then potentially one right in the centre there. Hopefully we don't have to move that sheep pen. Move that bit of road there. And get this placed right there. And then let's remove these bits of road. And get this down. Perfect. Right, so that fixes up that. Back to having multiple more mining pits. And can we sue for peace immediately? Negotiation. We can settle this for a small payment. And let's say... How do we edit? Oh, there we are. Let's go for 10. I will pay you 10 coins to go away. See if he comes back with that. It's worked in the past for much less money. And peace declared. Okay. Men. Cheerio. And deploy our militia to the zone just in case, because actually this hasn't gone away. But I'll disband everyone else. They're very tired from running, rather unsurprisingly. So we may even hold on to these guys. Depending on how our finances improve, we are starting to make a bit more money. Once everyone's inside, we'll get them disbanded. Yep. They need to move those buttons further away from each other. That's what I've decided. Do I lose? I don't know. I was just wondering if in accidentally deleting them I lose the combat experience they have. We're just going to go ahead and hope not. So they're only 50 a month as well, so they may well be worth keeping. Anyway, in the capital, we were focusing on building a new trading post, and let's not miss the opportunity to get some properties upgraded while we're at it as well. The ever indefensible manor here, which may be a good place to garrison, actually, these forces. Because we do occasionally get raids off this side of the map, or mercenaries spawning in from this location as well. So having a couple of forces garrisoned up in this manner wouldn't be a bad thing. And we actually have everything we need now. Oh, no we don't. I thought all this had been previously set to be upgraded. Never mind, let's see what the upgrade cost is to upgrade this much smaller fort up here. Don't think we need to have walk rails on the sides of this one, but I'm going to put them there anyway. Because if you're going to do a thing, then why not do it properly? Might actually end up with 2 castles, which will be a first for me. I've only ever managed one before. And flip that around to the other side. And of course we'd want to upgrade the manor here as well. No, we do not have enough stuff to do that. Maybe in the future. At least having some sort of fortification up there will give us a place to garrison our troops where they stand a chance at holding at the gate, as opposed to having to hold out in the open, which would be much harder to do. Once we've got these deep mines constructed as well, we'll convert them to deep mines. So they produce even more salt, and our new trading post will help us export even more salt. Construction does seem to be taking a little while. I guess they have to move resources a little ways. We just as well get an additional family working down here at the logging camp, because why not? And maybe we'll even open up... Do we have... We don't have any woodcutters lodges down here. Let's get a couple of woodcutters lodges down here. And let's move this one actually, so that it is against this road as well. And then let's get another charcoal kiln. Can we pop that down here? No, it's too steep. Pop that one there. Mining pits are coming together, so we'll convert those to deep mines. And let's go and check in on the new properties we're building in Deep Heart. And let's make sure that we get these constructed with orchards as soon as possible, because I believe we can get the orchards growing before anyone moves in, which is going to make things that little bit faster. And we've got one person working at this forester's hut to get taxed. But let's get another family working at this one, because we do not want to be running out of trees. More people settling. We're a long way off building this castle down here. Yeah. We'll get there. We will get there. 13 clay left there before we can get rid of that clay pit altogether. Keep ordering in those oxen, and we'll upgrade a couple of these to stables. Tannery seems to be doing okay. We've got tools. We've got plenty of fuel in the form of charcoal. We've got fish coming in now as well. Hopefully that's helping with our approval, with a slightly better market variety. And how are we doing down here? So clothing obviously an issue, but food wise doing quite well. Looks like most families have got 3 groups of food, so I've got 4. Milk. Huh. I guess they're getting that from the sheep farm. Or maybe from the goats. Let's look at the granary. Don't know where they're getting the milk from, to be honest. Is that a new passive creation of the sheep farm? No. It's producing wool, which hopefully is all being turned into yarn. It is indeed. which is all being turned straight into clothes. And in fact, let's see how much we've created here in terms of clothes. Resources. That's 30 days. Clothes. Yeah, we produced 8 clothes. So we are starting to produce some of those. And again, we'll just leave the Battle Brothers down here for the time being. A nice 2 expendable units that don't cost very much. And I think as we've seen, the number of conflicts we're having, it might not be a bad idea to pick up cheap mercenaries anywhere we can. And again, I'm thinking the Wayward Sons, even green caps are only 90. We are starting to bring in quite a lot more money now. Okay. Well, I don't really want to be spending 90 or 110, but 45 I can live with. So I'm actually going to hire them. The Wayward Sons. I'm going to march them over as well. And actually I'm going to march them directly to the fort in the capital. Two units. We'll set them spread out and shoot it well. And we'll do the same with these lads. And that's giving us a little standing army, and obviously it's going to cost us to keep a standing army, about 100 a month. But as long as we can keep increasing our creation of goods and our export of goods, then hopefully we'll be able to maintain that force, and that's going to make defending against the numerous attacks we keep getting against us much, much easier. And when we eventually decide to go on the offensive, it's going to give us the ability to bolster our forces. And we're not losing anyone in the meantime, either of our own men. So we're definitely going to want 4 permanent here. We'll get a horse ordered straight away. We're going to have 4 people working here. And obviously that's going to be working on the same trade basis that we have for the other. Hopefully, the main thing they're going to be doing is exporting salt. Because we have loads and we only want a surplus of 40. And on the topic of salt, we'll start to get some workers into these deep mines. Convert that one's a deep. We'll make sure the maintenance is set to nice and high so that we don't get them collapsing on us. And we're still doing okay for tools as well. There's the Wayward Sons take the long march. So could we harvest early? Because that is ready. It's got 28 there. As much as it's going to have. But it's 72 days until harvest. Who knows? I would like to keep someone working at these farms to keep things ticking over though. Hesitant to use ploughs because I think as long as you've got the numbers of people to work, it's a little bit faster to use people. Still got 14 available living spaces. Down in Depart, plenty of living space. Have we completed the additional properties here? No, not quite yet. We're still working on these upgrades. Make that one apple, and the next 2 will be pear. How are we doing for stone? Dressed stone. 282. We're losing a bit of money here now. We are taxing it fairly heavily, and actually stone was one of our larger exports, and obviously we've reduced the... well, currently we're exporting no stone because we're keeping it all back for the eventual construction of our fort in this location. That's definitely having an effect on our income. Right, some pairs. Having said that, we should now be exporting small shields, which it looks like we are, and sidearms as well. Now we do have 2 armourers. I've actually got him making mail, which is an accident. I was going to have him making helmets, because actually we can't wear mail yet. He's made 5 so far. We still have plenty of iron slabs, I take it. Yeah, we've got more than ever. Now, I am going to change his production to helmets. We do have the one blacksmith making swords. I think I'm probably going to take one of the goat producers. And I'm going to change them to be blacksmith's workshop. Because I want to start making the metal parts we need to make crossbows. I don't even believe we have a Fletcher down here. It might be that it's a good idea. We have crossbow units supplied by Deep Heart, and then we have our infantry supplied from the capital. Because we may be able to support 2 units from down here in Deep Heart now. And instead of having any infantry down here, it'd just be the crossbows. Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Because that's where we're going to make the crossbows in any case. But I don't want to make a bow shop just yet, because the additional workers, unassigned families for construction, is really important here at the moment as well. So next to here will be Quincy's. And actually I've really drained our money by doing that. We've just started hiring mercenaries as well. Long term. Oh, well, never fear. If it comes to it, we'll just have to start exporting dressed stone again for a relatively short period of time to make up for the shortfall in finances. And we could, of course, just massively increase our level of dressed stone production as well. Right, so just soon as the blacksmith has finished construction, as we pay out to some of those mercenaries. I mean, hopefully the payoff of not having to rally our troops all the time will mean they can stay in their jobs doing their jobs, which hopefully will, relate to an increase in productivity, and we'll be spending less time doing rubbish. So let's make iron parts here. Maybe we want 300, and we don't want to be using more iron slabs than 80 in reserve, so we have enough to make tools and also any other weapons that we might need to be making, although we might, I suppose, making a tool might be waking it from the imagination. That was very airy-fairy, wasn't it? Okay, we don't appear to have a major problem with trees yet. I think we've probably got another year before we really start running out, and we do have lots here planted by the foresters we do have working for us. Just 25 days left on this claim. Pretty sure we've won it because we've declared peace, but it hasn't gone away. But we're winning in any case, according to the status. So long as that's the case, we will keep our mercenary troops down here. And actually, I believe our archers have arrived, and they're now safely ensconced within the capital's manor defences. And once we get the capital's retinue back together, they can also stand guard here, and that will be the infantry blockade for the archers. And actually, probably those 3 units will be all we need up here. And we can't fit that many more anyway. And the retinue will do a very good job of holding that choke point while the archers do their job. So in that case, we can actually then garrison these units of sword down in the fortifications within, or just to the side of New Boat Landia within Deep Heart. But I think we'll only do that once we have the retinue put back together, and that's not something I really want to be paying out for at the moment, especially as we're down on finances for Deep Heart itself. Okay. Progress is being made, if at a steady pace. Don't think we need to worry about more people at the sheep farm just yet. It looks like we are breeding sheep nicely. Yep, 20 lambs, along with our 10 sheep, so that's a good sign. Need to increase the wells again. Looking pretty good. Clothes are starting to be produced. We're selling small shields. And is there anything else we could be exporting? If we go over to the trading post. So, and trade. I suppose we could be exporting tools. How many tools are we making? Have we set a limit for the number of tools we're making? Where is our blacksmith? It'll be somewhere near the initial starting area, I imagine. It's very easy to forget where you put things in this game. It'd be nice if there was a quick, like, go-to you could use. It's growing, so we'll leave you there for the time being. Or did we just... Do we have an additional blacksmith whom I had forgotten about? Oh no, Smithy, there we are. So he's making up to 50. So he made 3 in the last 30 days. Only 25% productivity. Yeah, because the family working on it are from here. Can we increase the productivity? Can I assign a different family to work here? What do you do for a living? Something far away. You're at the sheep farm. Okay, I'm going to reassign you to the smithy. I'm going to unassign that family, and I'm then going to reassign you to work at the smithy, and I'm actually going to do that with your neighbour as well. And you currently work as a weaver. So let's go over to New Boatlandia. Weaver's workshop. Is there anyone around here that doesn't have a job? Because you work at... the forester. Seriously, a forester. That's as far away as you could be, I think. I'm going to reassign you to Weaver's workshop. And we've won the battle. He's declared. So I'm going to bring back these infantry. And we'll use the unit spear. We'll form a shield wall just here at the entrance. If I can get the placement just right. Like so. And then we'll hold this unit in reserve to the side. Wonderful. That's good news. Now, that's showing me we probably do need a couple of additional families living over in Deep Heart. Oh, got someone ready for upgrade. We'll get them upgraded straight away. But I think we probably do have room over here. I haven't said that. Has everyone moved into these extensions? May well have done. 12 available living spaces. That may mostly be coming from our new properties here. So we're not going to extend these just yet. And we do obviously want people moving into these because we want the trees to be planted and grown. It doesn't look like they've been planted yet. Maybe they won't be until someone moves in. So there's that theory down the drain. 7 days to the harvest, so we need to start getting people working at the farmhouse. And that probably means... How are we doing for charcoal? We'll probably afford to take one person off charcoal. Blip. Take you from there. And we will not take anyone from the fishermen's huts. So I don't think that's a good use of time. We'll take someone from the windmill though. And that gives most of them to the farmhouse. We'll see how we get on with that. And then within the capital, we've never struggled for people here before, but I have done a bunch of reassigning since then. So let's reduce the number of people working at that trading post, but also get an additional mule. And I want loads of people working down there. And we're doing okay for how happy people are up here, but again, we're still only at monthly migration of 1. Want beverages to get to level 3. No, we haven't got this tavern operational yet, but we might as well get it going. So we'll get someone working there. Just done the opposite of freeing people up. Let's take a couple of people from the logging camp, maybe one from the foresters' huts, and send them to work here. Is there anyone else we can free people up from? Yep, we've got 4 people working at the corpse pit. Classic. So we can send them to work at that farm and still leave a few people free. We don't realistically need everyone at the windmill either. Okay. How are the troops getting on? Yep, they've just arrived. I don't think they've got quite the right idea. Can you face the right direction? Nope, they're terribly confused. How about they do that? There you go. You're all facing the right direction now. There we go. No one's getting in here. That's for sure. Not without a rather red runny nose. Right, so the harvest is nicely underway. What I want to know is we're producing plenty of salt now. We're producing plenty, up to 1.4k already. How are we doing in terms of selling it? 3,300. Yep. Let's go. Last 30 days. 272. Previous month. 408. Current year. Lots. Hopefully we can start exporting even more of the stuff. Now we've got an additional trading post set up. Don't really need that forester here anymore. Get rid of that. Still plenty of living space though, so we don't need to worry about adding any additional spaces just yet. We're only just getting people moving in to these properties down here. Oh dear, stock's damaged. That's no fun. Got a fair number of people working the field, so it's disappointing to see that anything is being damaged by being left out. I do like that we've got our standing army there now. Makes me very happy. Very, very happy. Finally done with the clay mining bit. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of this little bit of road. And before long it will be time to add an additional mine over there as well. That's fine, yeah. Okay. Keep popping upgrades as and when they appear to us. Farming seems to be going okay down here. Forestry work is going okay. And the capital's gone up again. Now a medium town. It is indeed. Nice to see. It's quite an unusual town. It's fairly spread out, isn't it? You've got a lower cliff area here. You've got our original industrial area here. A little forestry area here. Got fields on the side. Got the main sprawl of the town down through here. Leading down to the fields. And then you've got the manor perched up on high. And look at that. You've got New Boatlandia down there. You've got main of Deep Heart down in the valley. And you've got what's currently Peter's place over here, which we might be taking for ourselves one day. It probably makes sense, although he hasn't attacked us more than anyone else. Probably a little bit less, actually. It probably would make sense to take this city, this settlement first, because it is just a hop and a skip over from Deep Heart. It also looks a little bit bigger than this settlement up here, not by loads. And how are they doing over here? They don't appear to have done loads more actually themselves. I wonder when we'll see the AI start to build their own manor houses with fortifications. Maybe something that's not quite in the game yet. It's going to be a little while before we're adding any additional fields down in Deep Heart as well, because I don't think we can support running any more of those at the moment. That's 257 planks, 400 dressed stone. I think we're most of the way there on mortar. And we should by now have, yeah, we've got 17 iron parts. Let's convert this place to a bower's workshop. And let's just double check what the requirements were for our manor down here. Our main fortification. Just under 700 stone, so we're over halfway there. We're very nearly there on the mortar, and we're over halfway there as well on the planks. Imagine the planks being slowed down by the timber, because I imagine I have a fairly stringent limit on the amount of planks that can be made compared to our timber production. Saw pit still somewhere over here, is it? Yeah. More royal tax. Yeah. 100 timber limit. Not much we can do about that at the moment. Fields are still being worked. Let's speed time up a little bit. More families settling in, which is good. +1 monthly migration. Does that mean we're actually at 2 monthly migration if it's +1? I don't know. Who knows? Get more ox. More ox is always good. And we should be done the construction of that bower's shop. Let's head on down there. Oh, not quite yet, but now we are. I want you to make crossbows. Planks and iron parts. I don't think I'm going to need to set any limits on these, because I don't see us running out of parts, and planks rather, and iron parts are only going to be used to make crossbows anyway. I'm interested to see as soon as we have one. We'll make a unit down here, and we'll see what the difference between them and archers is. Helmet's still being made. They're actually fully equipped now with this militia unit, and we've started to send them over to Deep Heart, and we're getting there with the gambesons over there as well. And once we've got more money here, once we're exporting dressed stone again, we'll start to think about gambesons for Deep Heart as well, for our eventual 2 units of crossbowmen. This is the current plan. We're getting the ploughing done. Ooh, another property ready for upgrading. Let's not miss out on the opportunity to do that. Oh, that's a lot of properties ready for upgrading. Let's make sure we take advantage of that. Obviously, an increase in the supply of alcohol as the crops come in. Or maybe fruits. Who knows? Do we have an excess of clothes here? We do have 82 clothes. So it might be worth us considering selling some clothes on the market. Be another source of income. Alternatively, we could pack station some down. At the moment we're trading salt for helmets, which is definitely a good trade. I guess we could set up another trade send clothes. But probably not for helmets, because we are exporting all of the helmets we make at the moment. What could we export back up? There's dress stone, but again, we want to build up dress stone down here for our main fortification. I'm not too worried about the capitals at the moment. So I'm not sure there's much else that we can export from here. We're really trying to build things up. Decisions. Could do shoes, I suppose, but they don't need shoes up there. Could do a weapon. Nah. I think what we'll do is we'll just sell them. It's another source of income. So let's go down to the trading depot. Order another horse. And we want to set up a trade on clothes. We're going to export everything over 120. Because I would like to have a little stockpile just to make sure that distribution is evenly done across the whole of the capital. I've not had it in a game of Manor Lords yet where I've had enough clothes for a region, so it's really nice to see. For once we do have enough clothes. I'm almost willing someone to attack us from over here, so we get to use our Manor's walls for the first time. And we're up to 2,300 regional wealth, so why don't we go ahead and hire in a retinue. Sorry, it's from up here, isn't it? But we've got 1,400 in our own treasury as well, so let's do it. Whoa. Took most of our money, but we do now have a retinue we can call on for the manor as well. I'm not going to equip them with weaponry just yet, because that would really kick the old finances in the groin, which we don't want to do. Goes out some of the money for the mercenary companies as we speak. Is this shrinking now? It is. We can free up that worker from the forager's hut. How are we doing in the fields? Let's get a couple of additional workers to try and get everything done. I may try hiring in or getting an oxen in with a couple of additional farms just to see if it is any faster in the future. Because it would be interesting. So I've done it with workers ploughing the fields for a long time now, because I never found the oxen particularly effective, but that may have changed since I last tried using them. We are building a bit of regional wealth back up since my spending spree down here on orchards as well. So to speed things along, let's finish up what we can in the fields and get into winter. Let's move into November. Looks like we are there with most of the fields, but some we're really a little bit behind. We haven't quite got there yet, so especially that one. We'll definitely be working on that come the next spring, so I don't think we'll be reassigning everyone from the farms at the end here. Okay, we have not got any crossbows yet. I'd have thought we'd have made one by now. Oh, production limit set to 0. Must have accidentally clicked it. Right, it shouldn't take long to actually make one. Yep, one already. Okay, let's hire... let's get rid of a unit. And we'll hire a crossbow unit. Depart. As the capital goes up in settlement, it's a large town already. Right, so what are the differences? So according to this, get a ranged attack of 13 with archers, and a ranged attack of nothing with the crossbow unit. How bizarre. It's just... That may be because we've got 36 people in the unit, but only 2 crossbows. Let's wait for them to make enough crossbows that we can actually equip the entire unit. And then we'll rally it and we'll see what we can actually... how they compare to the archer militia in the capital before we completely give up on archer militia and move over to crossbows altogether. Oh dear, we fell short on the annual tax. And get spanked by the king. Oh heck. Plenty of available workers in the capital. Let's make some more salt. Actually, we have quite a lot of salt. Let's get some more people working on selling the salt. That seems like a better idea. As we are now up to redonkulous levels of stock. 1.9k salt. Starting to think that we might need a third trading post. It'd be nice to see how much each trade post has exported in the last however many days. Winter is upon us, so let's head on down to Depart Town and reduce the number of workers at the farm for the moment. Let's get a couple of workers up at the windmill to make use of that grain. Because we don't have any large infrastructure projects going on at the moment, let's check our ratio of rough stone to dress stone. We've got no rough stone. So let's get another quarry. Actually, let's get a couple of quarries a little bit operational. Make use of those men over winter, and we can also actually pull the fishermen, because they're not going to be able to fish over the winter. And we're going to get them working in the quarries as well. And we'll open up an additional stonemason station. And hopefully make good use of the winter to produce as much dressed stone as physically possible. We're there with the mortar. Still a little way off with the planks. We might actually be last with the planks. If that's so, we can just reassign our quarry division to go and cut down trees. We've had a collapse. We need someone to work at the church. No, we've got someone at the church. Yes. Are we out of burial plots or something? Do we need another church? We're going to run out of hallowed ground. It looks like the issue's gone away, so I guess they did get buried there in the end and it wasn't an issue. Do we have any additional grain that needs milling? We do. Let's get a couple of additional workers at the windmill so they can make their way through that backlog that we've got. Speed time along a little. No storage left at the saw pit and depot. Do we have a storage problem? And that storehouse is pretty full. The next nearest storehouse is all the way over here. Isn't nearly as full. Might need to get an additional store. Actually, we built one here, didn't we? So let's make this a bit bigger. Let's upgrade these two. I'd imagine actually that these guys don't have supply. Yeah. So we're going to need to get families working in there pretty quickly. In fact, I'm going to assign this family to work at the granary. And we'll assign the next family to move in here to work at the storehouse. Making a decent amount of money from these exports. Still missing lots of equipment for this crossbow unit, but we're up to half strength on it already. We've got stats on all these other units. Just not on our crossbows yet. Well, I don't think it's going to be too long at all before we get going on this mammoth construction project. We're really getting there on the stone front. Actually, we're getting there on the wood front as well. This is going to be an exciting construction project. Do I want to clear these trees? I think I probably do. Can I delete them? Erase shrubbery, but not trees. Okay. New plan. We need to build a logging camp. A temporary logging camp. Which we will locate here. And use it to cut down all the trees surrounding the immediate area of the manor. I don't think we want any buildings inside of the manor on this one. We might do that in future where we have a walled city. But this is really about a fighting fortification. I don't really want buildings in there getting in the way. And we'll just perch up here and watch the snows fall. That's all we have time for today, friends. I hope that you found this as relaxing to watch as I found it to make. I would love to hear any suggestions you have for these or other videos. Pop a comment below, I'll read it and respond. And if you enjoyed the video, then why not like and subscribe. If you're still in the mood to chill, join me in another video. As always, know you're appreciated. Until next time, cheerio.